As Spice Adams once said, good morning. Ha ha. If you don't know what that is, please go to Instagram and follow Spice Adams and check him out. This isn't even like sponsorship. I just think he's cool. But enough jokes. It's me, Ralph from the South. I'm the host that does the most. And today is a special day because this is the first episode of me interviewing someone on Scientifically Sound. I am so excited for this one because I brought in one of my special and wonderful friends, my sister, Lynnea Harris. She is a fifth-year PhD candidate at Emory University and doing her PhD in Molecular and Systems Pharmacology. Now, with me bringing her on, this was virtual, so this is a disclaimer for one. You know, technology, how it is, it won't have the best audio quality, but I promise you it does not take away from the content that we talk about today. And two, join in on the fun. It's going to be a lot of fun having a conversation. It's going to be a lot to learn, but it's also going to be joyful in the entirety of it. And so with that, let's get ready for Scientifically Sound. If you found somebody new, there is nothing I can do but ask you to
try and do me just the same as pilots do big airplanes and put me down easy.
Oh my God, who is this?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, who is singing so funny?
Yeah. What we got? We got science.
What?
We got music. Put them together, let's use it. Wait, let me be the substrate in your ear receptors. And let this not just be one endeavor. I get crunk on the science, I pull the lever. And with the music, I just hope you say, dang it, clever. Whatever, bring it, master what matters. All the while my life is scattered. You surge on in general, I guess you're David Satcher. And you bet I got you when it comes down to the laughter. And whatever may come after. Scientifically sound so profound, gonna convert energy like it's dollar to the pound. Just listen to this while you're making some hash browns, or maybe later after you raking some cash mounds. Who am I? It's Ralph from the South, who raps out his mouth, and we bring the music to the science that's around, and that's on period. And I just thank you for hearing this Scientifically Sound.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Let's do this.
Hey, let's go.
Hello, everyone. This is history in the making here. You know who it is, Ralph from the South. I'm the host that tries to do the most. Sometimes I'm off days, but today I'm on today. I got a special sister with me. I'm going to tell a story. It's probably the funniest thing I ever had to go through back at Furman. So for some of you, I went to Furman University. That's my alma mater. And I met this wonderful woman. Well, I knew of her because she was in marching band with me. That's right, everybody. Scientists have other hobbies too. But she was in color guard, and I don't think she hit me with an actual flag, but I know someone who did. But she was in color guard, and we knew each other because she was in chemistry, and she was my senior, about a year above me. But the real deal is when we knew that we could dance with one another. We were at a sorority function, and we was killing it and just hitting them folks and all the things all around. I call her Miss 3005. She represents Texas till the day I die. My captain, because she wore a freaking captain's suit at a holiday party. FU alumni, everyone welcome my wonderful friend and sister, Lynnea Harris. Clap it up. Yo, how are you?
Hey, Ralph, I'm good. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored. I'm so happy
Amen.
that you are here. You know, Clark sisters, all that. But
yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that we're doing this.
Me too. I'm so excited. Thanks for asking me to do this with you. I'm so ready.
Absolutely. Now, I only gave the intro, but you can only truly introduce yourself. You know, I don't know what philosopher said that, but we'll figure it out from there. So tell us who you are, where you from, where you rep, and where did you grow up? Just, you know, This isn't therapy, but just tell us everything. You know.
Yeah. Okay, well, as he said, my name is Lynnea Harris. I am originally from DeSoto, Texas, which is a suburb of the great city of Dallas, Texas. Grew up there until went to college. I went to college at Furman with Ralph. And I'm currently in Atlanta, Georgia at Emory University, where I'm working on my PhD in pharmacology.
ATL.
Yep. I have about a year left. So March 2022 is going down, you know. Fly in if you can.
Y'all heard that, everybody, right? Y'all can fly
Yes.
in, whatever. We about to turn it out. Everyone's scientifically sound family. Fly into Atlanta, March 2022. No, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Now, what made you get into science? Because you actually have an interest. When I met you, you were already doing research while I was still in high school. So let the people know.
So, okay, I was one of those kids, like, even from the age of, like, 6, where whenever we go to Toys R Us on Saturdays, I always wanted, like, the science kits, like the build your own crystals and, like, the make your own, like, whatever. And so that was always kind of an interest to me. But it wasn't until high school where I got an opportunity to do actual research, like, in a lab with PhD people. It was my junior year of high school. It was, like, the summer before junior and senior year. At UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas. And that was like the thing that started it, because I finally was in a lab. I got to do research. Everybody was like, hey, you know, they could pay you to do research and then they'll call you a doctor after. And I was like, what? Sign me up for that. That's what I want to do. And so that's pretty much what led me to getting a PhD. I learned about it first from that internship that summer. So,
it all came because of Toys R Us. They had to take away the giraffe, but you know, we got successful doctors or soon-to-be doctors out here. So I'm gonna ask this because you're the first person. I have to ask because I want you to describe the vibe you're feeling after this week or even this month. If you could put a song to how you're feeling, what would it be right now?
Yeah, so I think I'm feeling pretty good, honestly. So the first song that popped in my head was, I know Sunday's Tomorrow, but the song is called Sunday's Best by Surfaces. And it's basically like feeling good. Hey, like I should.
Yeah.
And took a walk around the neighborhood. And I was like, I feel that. Yeah.
Ooh, you jamming. I love it. I love it. It don't have to be Sunday to feel your Sunday's best, you know. Come back to the crazy uncles that be wearing all white and gaiters just walking down the street on Wednesday. Oh my gosh. So that's the song. And what have you been listening in lab? Put the people on to what you've been really listening to, because, you know, everybody has their set list and some people have albums for certain things. I know I have a certain playlist for cell culture. What have you been listening to?
That's real. So, okay, recently I've been listening to a lot of Nick Jonas and the Jonas Brothers. You can at me later. I don't care. I'm obsessed. So that's some good hype music. But when I'm feeling, you know, like I want a little bit more hype, you know, I'll always go to Drake. I'll always go to even like old school Lil Wayne, like, you know, like all of his old stuff, like back in the day, like in the 90s, that was like the best. And then when I'm not listening to music, I listen to a ton of podcasts. So Kev on Stage, Patrick Cloud, Brene Brown, like my inspiration. I love her to death, you know, everybody. So all those podcasts, when I'm not listening to music.
I love the fact you said Nick Jonas, and all I can remember is I still get jealous. And I'm like, ooh. That's the one song at every function I was like, all right, I can see why he's good. Jonas Brothers still got it.
Yeah.
Oh my,
it's a good song. And even their like comeback album, like they did an album together recently, all of those songs are hits. And then he just came out with his own album like yesterday, and I've been listening to that all yesterday, so it's been fun.
Oh, I love that. With everything that's going on in lab and all the things that you've been doing, what are some of the future goals that you're trying to do? Of course, graduate, obviously, but what are you trying to pull off right now, short term and maybe long term?
Yeah, so I guess you want me to talk about after graduation? 'Cause
you can do after, you can do before, you can even do tomorrow.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess since I only have a year left, I'm really more so in data collection phase right now. So I'm still trying to make my experiments look good and, you know, repeat them as many times as I need to. So that's a short-term goal, is like, can I get all this data to look presentable for a paper somewhere, you know? And then probably long-term goals after that, I'm really interested in going into what's called a medical science liaison career goal. So that's basically PhD scientists that get to travel around the country, or at least in their little territory, in their, you know, group of states. And they get to, you know, kind of be a helpful resource for all of the healthcare professionals that are at all of the hospitals and all the clinics in that territory. So you get to make friends, you get to talk about science, you get to travel, you get to be extroverted. So I'm like, yay, you know.
So what she means, audience, she's the knowledge plug, low key.
Yeah, seriously, that's exactly it. I want to be like the resident science expert.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. I love that you're hype in terms of what you already talked about with Sunday's Best and what you've been listening to. And I can't wait for that career, because one, I can now call you and be like, let me get some of your miles so I can just fly out, get flew out. Oh my God.
I flew you out. Yes.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And to the audience, I know I haven't talked about anything for me, but I feel good too. I'm just hyped that I had my friend on here. You want to know what I did? That was probably the funniest thing I've done this week, Lynnea.
What's that?
I bought a bass guitar on an impulse.
Oh, wow. Tell us about that. How did that happen?
I was sitting in my room looking at the wall. I'm sorry. I love that song. Nah, I've always wanted to play bass as a different medium of, like, you know, communication. And I honestly thought about, you know, I've already played trumpet a bunch. I already make beats a bunch. I already, like, you know, I rap a little bit here and there, but I always wanted to, like, play with the strings a little bit, just to, one, hear the tonation and be like, beautiful, but also learn how to slap the bass, because if I can do that, I will just only do that for the rest of my life if I have.
Oh yeah, that's almost like required. Like, I think every Black person needs to know how to slap the bass at some point.
Also, it's just fun. It looks cool. I don't know. There's this this YouTuber named Jock Stems who does, like, Sunday service, which is just like a guy who mimics certain things you see in church. And he recently did a video of, like, the different types of bass players. And there are the bass players that make the face all the time. There's the bass players that bring the bass up to their neck and just be, like, running through. The solo bass player that, you know, every praise break was like, and God said, do, and I said, yeah. And all you hear in the bass is do. I'm like, all right, I could get with that easily.
Yeah.
And one thing I think that brought that on is also just, it's funny because I impulse bought it. And I also just like, are there any things that I would just impulse buy in science ever? And there are some things, I think. One, any antibody, any antibody, only because you get so many coupons from the emails, because, you know, when you buy antibody, you get emails. They're like, buy 3, you get 1 for free. And I think you should impulse buy them. Also, for some of my listeners, you're like, what's an antibody? Antibodies are essential for at least me and Linnea's work. What it entails is essentially a molecule that they purified that can recognize a protein inside of our body's cells. And it's kind of like a marker for a barcode. Just like, oh, I'm looking for that. Let me go towards that and mark it. So now I can run my own gels and blot so I can get good data like Lynnea. And honestly, that's kind of like what's been getting me through the week, I think, is in terms of that inspiration of, like, sometimes you gotta impulse buy.
Yeah, you gotta just do it.
You really just gotta just do, and yes, just do it. Nike, you know who I mean.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's just like, I think I get that anxiety of not doing it, but once I do it, I'm hyped. So, like, you just have to break down and do it. I told my parents, and she's like, my mom's like, you always break down at some point just to buy things. We just need to get you quickly through that so you can bounce back up. It's like, dope.
The key is doing it before you've had time to think it fully through. Like, just do it and don't think about it. Because the more you think about it, the more you'll talk yourself out of it. That's real.
Oh, for sure. Now, that does not mean everyone, go buy whatever. I know the STEMI's coming, but impulse buy with a purpose. Impulse buy with a purpose. Maybe that's the lesson for today. Impulse buy with a purpose. Don't buy a car if you haven't paid your bills. Don't buy a mass spectrometer when you have Western blots you have to do. I know that's a very exaggerated thing, but hey, it might teach somebody someday. And with
that's good advice.
Hey, what's happening? You know who it is. It's Ralph from the South, the host that does the most. The song of the week that I want you to play this week is called Free as the Wind by the Crusaders. This wonderful jazz group actually went through a process from like their formation in the 1960s up to the 1990s, being called the Crusaders, Jazz Crusaders, and they interchange all the time. But the reason why I want you to play it, because as you heard, me and Lynnea will impulse buy, and when you do it, you feel as free as a bird as you could purchase anything. But remember, it's within reason. The other reason why I'm here is because I want you to know something. I am so happy for all of you that are listening in or enjoying themselves, and I'm happy with the engagement that we have. Therefore, I want you to give you the chance to actually submit your own stuff to the Scientifically Sound. So if you have a video of you singing in lab or dancing in lab or even just showing off science, we would love to post it. We would love to show you off and celebrate you and celebrate all of you and what you do in science. So feel free to email us, DM us, hit us up on Twitter, and you can find that information at the end of this episode. And now let's go back to the show. If you found somebody new, there is nothing I can do but ask you to.
Try and do me just the same as pilots do big airplanes and put me down easy.
Now, Lynnea, why did you choose this song about my love life? Shoot, or other people's love life? I don't know. Your rejection is hard. Why'd you pick this?
Because it reminded me of my science. So basically, this song is all about pain management, right? He's trying to lessen the pain as much as possible. He knows she's gonna end the relationship, but he's like, please don't be overly hurtful about it. He's trying to manage his pain. That's what I'm trying to do with my mice right now.
I mean, yes, but still. So if you haven't figured out the song, it's called Put Me Down Easy. It's by L.C. Cooke, which is the younger brother of the famous Sam Cooke. Everyone knows a change is going to come. But before a change is going to come, Sam Cooke was out here singing love and heartbreak songs to all these people. And he created a label. He called it the SARS label, or SAR label. And he put his brother on. He put gospel artists on. He put different blues singers and soul singers on his label to help develop them into the artists that they can become, at least independently from any other major label. And the story goes, Lynnea, that with this particular song, that Sam was actually writing this song. And L.C. Cooke was like, nah, Playboy, that's my song. And Sam was like, it's not even finished yet. How are you going to say it's your song? Well, finish it because it's my song. And
right.
So Sam actually was struggling with the lyrics at the time, and this is, if we want to date it, it's 1963 at the time, and he's writing it, he's figuring it out, and he actually finished it on the way to the studio, which I think is just boss in terms of being like, man, I don't know nothing. So you just be like thinking, and you're like, all right, got it. Let me sing this. Let me sing that. All right, we got this. This is the song. And so LC was like, all right, let me hear it. Let me hear it back. And Sam's like, all right, but I'm going to only sing it once. And then you're going to have to do it based on what I say. Mm-hmm. L.C. Cooke must have had great memory because he sang it verbatim just like it is. And it was probably the most beautiful song. Wow. It's like the epicest of what he put out within 1963 and 1964. Mm-hmm. Which is pretty baller to me. Now, here's the fun part of that whole thing. That was one of the few singles that L.C. Cooke would actually put out within that time before the unfortunate death of Sam Cooke in 1964.
Yeah.
So In 1964, of course, a change is going to come, but in December, Sam Cooke would pass. And due to all that happening, his label would go under, and L.C.'s album would never come out. His debut would never come out. And it's just crazy. But then it was actually 2014, which is weird because he was 80 years old when he put out his first album.
That is insane to me. That is crazy.
I think it's crazy just because most people are like, man, the oldest person that put out a debut album was Jay-Z and hip hop. I was like, you want to meet someone else? This is my guy, L.C Cooke. Now, yes, this is about love. This is about please put me down easy because I can't deal with the heartbreak of a woman, at least for L.C Cooke's sake. But it actually relates to your research. So tell about your research and how it even relates to your research.
Yeah, so, okay, the song relates to my research because it's all about pain and trying to stop the pain, trying to mitigate the pain. And that's exactly what my research is all about. So I'm studying opioid medication. So like those really intense, very addictive painkillers. And I'm essentially trying to figure out why is it that they wear off over time? Like we call it tolerance, but basically what happens is you take a pill and, the first day that pill is working. And then you keep taking that same pill every day, and after a while, it stops working. And so we're trying to basically stop that from happening, and so I'm using mice to kind of study how tolerance happens and how we can stop it.
So tell me, how do opioids work within the body or within the cell, just in terms of, it wants to mitigate the pain that we feel, whether it's love or at least physical pain. What is the signaling that goes on there in particular?
Yeah, so okay, whenever you take an opioid, it binds to these opioid receptors, right? So it goes and finds its own receptor. And then what happens with that is there are these nearby receptors called NMDA receptors, which is the main one I'm concerned with. And what happens when those get activated is there's a ton of calcium that comes into the cell. And calcium is like kind of the bad thing because whenever too much comes in, it basically causes phosphorylation of these opioid receptors. And so when that phosphorylation happens, it basically makes them ineffective because now they've been decoupled. They've been separated from all of their proteins that they need to help make the receptor work. So this calcium is basically causing these opioid receptors to be non-functional.
First off, I gotta ask you to elaborate a little bit. So what does NMDA mean?
So it stands for N-methyl deaspartate. So it's basically just an amino acid, like aspartate, but it's got a methyl group on it. And that is, they named the receptor after that because that molecule binds to that receptor. Like that's kind of its endogenous ligand. And so these are receptors that are involved in, memory and learning and all types of other behavior stuff.
I got you. So let's make sure I understand correctly. I take opioid, it binds to my receptor, it gets in contact, that particular opioid receptor gets in contact with NMDA, calcium comes in, just rushing in, which leads into hopefully the mitigation of my pain, but if there's too much, it leads to a phosphorylation activity that will then separate the receptor from the NMDA, which makes it useless at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so we want to keep the calcium from coming in, or we want to make less of it come in. Like there's too much, so we want to turn it down a little bit.
So it honestly sounds like the club. If we were going to a club, I know it's during the time of the pandemic, but y'all know what it's like to go to the club.
Yeah, let's reminisce.
Look, I don't know. I'm a lame, so you never know me. But the opioid receptor is like the manager or the person that opens up the club, and NMDA is like the bodyguard or the security in the front, just like, come in, stay out. No, you ain't ready. Them shoes you wearing, get out of here. But opioid receptor is like, hey, women come in free before 11, they drink for free. And NMDA is like, all right, cool. Come in, calcium, come on in. But then there's too many women in the club. So now we can't do nothing.
It's a whole problem. Exactly.
Which is fine. I mean, and to everyone that's going out to the club, please be safe and all that stuff. But Wow, I didn't know that we had clubs going on in our side of our bodies. So, with you trying to understand it's opioid tolerance, which is essentially the feeling of taking opioids and then it just gets worse and worse in terms of its mechanism of action. What have you been finding in your particular research that you've been doing with the mice?
Yeah, so it's really early, but what I found so far is so basically my lab is a chemistry lab. So we have a lot of different molecules that people have made over the years. And I've been testing some of those molecules to see if they can basically stop the tolerance thing from happening, stop the opioid from wearing off over time. And we've actually seen that some of our compounds can do it. And so that's really cool because they're also very safe, right? They're safe to take. They don't harm the mice in any way. So if we have these compounds that do, inhibit tolerance, then that means we're closer to, putting it in a person and, actually helping the opioid crisis. So it's very early, but I'm real excited about it.
It's really early, you all. Like, now, if it happens, I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna be like, I remember when I first interviewed her. She was doing all this. I got the scoop, but I'll put you on, obviously. Okay, yes. So in addition to all the research that you do within that particular area, I know you said you work with mice. Do you ever have to step out and not work with mice? Or do you have to communicate with other scientists in terms of like the drugs the therapeutics that you're using in tandem with this? Because I know mice work is one part of the whole gamut of research, but what else is going on?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So most of my stuff does involve mouse work, but when I'm not doing that, I kind of have like 3 different labs that I'm working with. So there's the animal work part, then there's the chemistry part, because I'm still working with people who are actually making these molecules, and they're way better at chemistry than me. I tried it. That's not my forte, even though I'm a bachelor's in chemistry. So they're like the experts that make the molecules that I'm testing. And then we also test them in cells first before we put them in mice. And so that's the third piece of it. So you've got cell work, you've got chemistry work, and you've got animal work.
So you're telling me there are some blots that I need to see? I'm gonna have to see some blots. Oh my god!
It's more electro, so I don't even know if you'd even want to see it. It's like electrophysiology, and they're hard to read.
It's electric. I'm done. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh! And hey, whoever's listening, if y'all are looking for MSL, it seems as if Lynnea is able to talk to 3 labs at once and just work on her research. So she has the skills, y'all. It's all happily happening.
Hit me up.
This is your application right here. You know that?
I'm doing the interview right now.
I'm so proud. Oh my goodness. So in addition to all of that, of course, you have that going on, but are there any other things that you do outside of lab in addition to your research? Talk about that.
Yeah. So before COVID, we used to have in-person recruitment. So whenever we want to bring in new grad students for the next year, we'll have like a recruitment weekend where we fly them all in and kind of show them, the campus and let them get to know us as students. They get to meet the faculty. They get to have their interviews with the faculty. And so I ran that for like 3 years, and I was really excited about that. That was my favorite thing to do. And yeah, so we had our most recent one over Zoom this last year, so that was sad, but it was still really fun. Like they still felt like they got to know us a lot, so that was good. I love doing recruitment. And then I've been like the treasurer for our social group too, so I've kind of had my hands in a couple different things, but mostly recruitment outside. And then outside of lab, I love going to the club, obviously, going to bars and restaurants, going out dancing. Pre-COVID times, that was my favorite thing to do on a Friday night. So that hopefully I'm looking forward to getting back to that too.
I wish I could dance out there with you.
Me too. I wish you could too.
I'm getting old for it, but I can bust something. I can bust a move one day. Oh my goodness. In regards to, of course, into all of this, how do you think your experience has been being at Emory, even being at Furman, and your journey of being a scientist as a Black woman or a woman in general too?
Yeah, so the transition from Furman to Emory was kind of night and day because, for those who are not familiar, Furman is a very majority white university, very Southern, preppy, private school in the South. And so doing chemistry there, you know, me and Ralph were the only two Black people like in the whole major. And so that was very different from my current university at Emory. It's a lot more diverse there. You know, it's Atlanta, so you'd expect that. But even my program, we've got a lot of, you know, Puerto Rican students. We've got a lot of students from China. We've got a lot of other Black people. So I'm really happy to be surrounded by more diverse people doing, you know, research. So it's been fun.
Alexa, cue up "We Are the World."
Yes.
Oh my gosh. All right, now for a fun question for you, because I just think it's always fun. How you dealing with that traffic, huh? How's that traffic?
Ooh, so, okay, here's how you deal with it. You avoid it completely by living near campus. So I'm not next to campus, but I'm like maybe 7-8 minutes out. And so you can take all these back roads through neighborhoods and stuff. And that is how I avoid the traffic. If you live a certain distance away, traffic is unavoidable. But if you're right, you know, within 10 minutes, you can kind of get over it. So I think I was smart about that.
We definitely accept you into the ATL family when
Yes.
it comes to traffic, only because a lot of people have been coming to Atlanta and they don't know anything about how Atlanta works, and they're crowding up every highway and byway. So I'm glad you thought about how you were living in Atlanta a little bit. It was like, I'm not going to contribute to the craziness. Also, I just want to be able to go through the highway as quick as I can. Get to Decatur.
The highways bother me so much though, because y'all have those lights where it tells one car they can go and then another car they can go, and like those lights as you're merging on. I've never seen that anywhere else. And when I first moved here, I was like, why do we have lights on the highway?
Oh my gosh. Case in point, audience, if you're going to come to Atlanta, be prepared for about an hour delay for whatever you're doing. All right. Well, I'm so glad that we did this. This is going to be such a beautiful thing for people to hear. How about you talk about your social media, if anyone wants to reach out to you, your email or anything?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Lynnea Harris on Facebook. That's Lynnea Harris on Facebook. And then I'm Lynnea on Instagram. That's Lynnayny on Instagram. Email is firstname.lastname@emory.edu. So yeah, hit me up.
They call her first name, last name. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm happy that I finally had to have my wonderful friend on the podcast. Thank you so much, Lynnea Harris. And
thank you, Ralph. I had a blast doing this.
I had a blast too. To all the audience out there, please eat your Wheaties. Make sure that you have all your pipette tips in a row. And just remember, please, rip the strip at the bottom of the gel before you burn up your gel box. I swear I forget. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Hey, you with the science. I would like to thank you so much for listening to this episode. Thank you so much for listening to this wonderful interview that I got to do with my friend Lynnea. Me and Lynnea had a wonderful time recording it. It was such a blast and such a jam just to talk about science, music, history, a little bit just how life's going, and all of the above, honestly. If you enjoyed the episode and you want us to follow us and support us, you can follow us on Twitter at the number 4, the sci_sound. You can also follow us on Instagram at the scientifically sound. So at scientifically sound. And you can even email us and chat it up with us. And our email is the number 4, the scientifically sound at gmail.com. It's been a wonderful time. I hope you have a wonderful day. Get some sunshine. The sun is coming out real soon. Bye.